What's up, guys? I was here with Alvis Tech. I'm coming at you today with a video. This video is more so going to be a demonstration. That demonstration being a workaround that I've been working on for quite some time since I upgraded my rig. Now I've upgraded my GPUs about 2 months ago. I'm running a 4-way SLI on the GTX 1080s, the ASUS Strix GTX 1080s. As most of everybody know, pretty sure everybody is since the day one of the new Pascal series. Pascal, NVIDIA decided to stop support of 3 and 4-way SLI. Now, like I said, I've been working on trying to get these cards running in 4-way SLI configuration. I originally had 3 cards in SLI. Now I have 4 GTX 1080s. But I finally made some progress. I've managed to get all of these cards running. This is 4-way Pascal architecture graphics cards. I'm currently playing GTA 5 at 4K resolution. I've got all these settings pretty much on ultra at this point. I would say max, but the only thing that I'm not running on maximum is the MSAA. With this being 4K resolution, there really is no need for MSAA. FXAA is running. All the advanced graphics are turned up. As most of anybody who's anybody, most of the gamers know, GTA 5 is in fact a very hard game to run at ultra settings or high settings. I mean, it takes a pretty powerful machine to run this game at high and ultra resolutions. But yeah, you guys can look over into the left hand corner, the left side of the screen actually. You'll see the stats, the EVGA stats. I'm using EVGA Precision X overclock. I'm currently running at 120% power target, 92 Celsius temp target, GPU offset of plus 160 megahertz, plus 400 megahertz on the memory at GDR5X. So that nets me, I'm looking at 2063 on the core clock, and let's see, 5400 on the memory clock. I'm using about 4.1 gigs of VRAM. CPU sitting at normal usage levels. Let's see, core 1, core 2 actually is at 52% usage. Looking at about 52, 56. It's kind of back and forth with the temperature on the CPU. The GPUs are sitting around low 40s, high 30s. The top and that bottom card, not the top and bottom, sorry, the top card and that's card number 2, they're being used pretty heavily, so they're taking most of the beating. The usage is, if you can see, uniform. I'm uniform in the 90s on the usage, and you can see how fluid this is. I'm sitting at 102 FPS in all this grass. Let me show you the settings real quick. Let's see. Like I said, I'm running, I guess you would call it, what you would say, ultra. The only thing that is not max is that MSAA. It is turned off. Like I said, at 4K resolution, MSAA is really not needed. So I didn't find the interest in turning that up. I could turn it up just to see what kind of performance impact it would have at 4K, which would be tremendous at this resolution. But everything else is turned all the way up. Population density, got everything else very high, and these won't go any. Oh, hold on. Oh, okay. Well, that one, these won't go any higher. I must have missed that reflection quality. Yeah, these are, some of them go to ultra, some of them don't. Like this one goes to normal. But this one I had on very high. I was thinking it was the same as these, but it actually goes to ultra. So let's crank that up. Reflection, MSA, all that's how they can go. Yada yada yada. Yeah. So let's see. Let's apply that. Let's go to these advanced graphics. All this is turned all the way up. The extended distance scaling, the shadow distance, all that's turned all the way up. We're not gonna do any flying, but high detail streaming while flying is turned up. But you can see all of this grass. This grass is pretty fluid. I'm running Here you don't see any stuttering. Now I am not using any high bandwidth bridge from either NVIDIA or EVGA. This is a EVGA version 2. This is a pro bridge with the metal connectors, but it is not a high bandwidth bridge, which I would say at these at this memory speed, I'm not sure how much of an impact it is in fact creating. I've seen a few videos of that, the numerous SLI connectors, and the difference is mostly from, if you're gonna say go from a ribbon cable or a non-metal connector bridge up into a high bandwidth bridge, with the difference could be somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 frames per second. But like I said, I'm using a pro bridge, so from the pro bridge to the high bandwidth bridge, I believe I saw the difference was somewhere around 5 to 10 FPS, give or take, if it's that much. But so it's not too bad of a loss. So I'm not really worried about that. I don't see any stuttering. I have seen some stuttering in GTA 5 when I'm playing online. This is the online mode now. I'm just in a session by myself, so I don't have any distraction. But this is the online. I've noticed when playing online, as well as some other friends of mine, they notice GTA has some sort of optimization issue, and it stutters. It'll stutter for like, a fraction of a second, and the frames will just crash and immediately restore back to their normal operating range. So I'm not sure what that is about. So you may see that here just at random. I'm not sure what causes. I have yet to actually replicate it on purpose. But yeah, for the most part, this game is really intense when it comes to performance. I think it just dipped just now. You see it dip down to like 55 and it jumped right back up. I'm back up to 103. Let's just do some driving around and see what we get while we're moving. But besides that, I haven't seen any noticeable glitches or performance degradation by running this configuration. Now this configuration is not it's not a simple fix or not a simple workaround. It takes quite a bit of work to get this configuration running, this 3- and 4-way configuration. With this being 4-way SLI and Pascal GPUs, it takes quite a bit of time and effort to get it going, but I've managed to find a pretty solid workaround that has been working in most of the testing I've done. I've tested other games like other AAA titles that are pretty demanding. GTA 5 I found to be the most demanding. Games like Dying Light, which are not nearly as demanding as if GTA 5. I believe with all the maximum settings in Dying Light at 4K, I probably had the usage sitting somewhere in the 40s uniform on all 4 cards, which is not much at all. It is all of the core clocks were uniform across the board, so that's a good sign that it is in fact working, and it is in fact effective in the game. It's just that the stress that the game itself is putting on the hardware is just not that great. So the usage, like I said, is down in the 40s here now. I'm down in the 70s. We were in the 90s. Okay, we're jumping back up into the 90s now. Oh, there's another one of those stutters. It's like a glitch. So yeah, I'm seeing frame rates as high as 139, but as low as 50, maybe 40, depending on when that stutter induces itself. So I'm not sure exactly what it causes. I thought it may be a physics event or something dealing with the CPU, but the CPU it appears to be running. Normally I'm getting usage on the CPU Core 2 at about 58%. Core 1 is pretty much stagnant at somewhere in the low 30s for the most part, with the rest of them kind of juggling themselves around in the 50s range. The temperature on the same temperature for the most part has been uniform in the 40s, with that main core being Core 2. It reads Core 1, but it's actually Core 2. CPU is actually Core 1, so with that main core, I guess the game is just using that one. It's been the hottest out of all of them as far as temperatures goes. I don't believe that at this point Nvidia has any. I wouldn't say any. I'm not sure if Nvidia has much interest, rather, in trying to find a way to patch this fix or find some sort of block to this workaround. I wouldn't say fix or workaround. I would disclose how it's done, but that would in fact jeopardize the possibility of more people being able to achieve the same thing. So there's just, it's just one of those things where you kind of have to, do your homework and, research and lots of trial and error to get something like this going, assuming that you're running hardware this powerful. This is a great deal of hardware. Two GTX 1080s is in fact a great deal of hardware. You can run 4K AAA titles with no problem at 60 frames per second, and so just 4 of them is just complete overkill. Like I said, I'm getting frames as high as 139 at ultra settings. These settings with the absence of MSAA, which again is not needed at this resolution. But even in the fields and the forest, the frames per second are just well above 60. I'm not getting nearly as close to 60 as I would be. I've ran 2A SLI in different tests and games and benchmarks and whatnot. And at some point in time, I would get really close to the 60 FPS mark, and rare occasions drop below the 60 FPS mark. There's another one of those stutters. I don't know, just optimization issue. I don't know what that is causing. It just stutters. It was in fact a freeze that time, and it just went right back up to over 100, 120. But like I was saying, as far as the okay, what is this? I'm looking for the airport. I'm getting off topic. Looking for the airport. Okay, it's this way. But yeah, crap, I done lost my train of thought. But oh yeah, the 1080s, the 1080 performance. But yeah, like I said, I've tested 2A SLI, and even then I was getting frames at some rare occasions lower than 60 FPS, which is not really I wouldn't say acceptable, but it's not really something you expect when you spend $1,400 or $1,500 on graphics processors alone, depending on which card maker you go with, especially the Founders Edition. You're looking at about $1,500 out the door or shipped for the online shoppers for graphics processors. You don't expect to play a game at an intense resolution and get frames that low. So let alone spending $3,000 on GPUs. These cards are, I believe I paid a little over $700 each for the ROG Strix edition a few months ago. So 7 times 4 is 2,800 plus the water cooled. These cards are water cooled. The water blocks a little over, somewhere around $3,300 for the graphics cards alone. That is an immense amount. That is an immense amount of money for an immense amount of performance. But I mean, they are performing. A lot of people were saying that it'll be a waste of money because Nvidia doesn't support anything over 2A SLI, which is in fact true. But myself being a benchmarker, I mostly find most of my 3D time or 3D application time running benchmarks. So for someone like me, it's not a waste at all, especially now when I'm able to exploit the power of these cards by using this workaround to get all of them working together in 4A SLI. We're over here in this back port terminal. Almost went in the water. I'm trying to get somewhere with some some planes, but I went the wrong way. I took the wrong freeway turn. I don't know too much about this map. I've played it not too many times. Like I said, I'm not much of a gamer, but now I have to play this game to see now that it is possible. There are other people that have managed to do this same thing before me, and I've kind of been shadowing them and doing a lot of homework and etc. to make sure that I could do the same thing and follow suit. So it is not by any means the first setup with something like this. There are other setups out there. They just, like I said again, they're not disclosing how it's done, because of the fact that NVIDIA will just simply come behind us and patch the hole, for lack of better words. So yeah, I mean, you guys can see. I mean, it's here for yourself. See the hardware stats. I'm not running any MSAA. I want to say when I run into that car, I got a stutter. It didn't happen just then, so I'm not sure exactly what it is that causes the game to kind of just hiccup for like a fraction of a second. Let me turn on some MSAA, see what we get. So right now I'm not running any MSAA. I'm gonna turn it all the way to 8 times MSAA. Let's go ahead and apply that. Okay guys, so we're back. I had a little hiccup just now in the previous segment. For some reason, when I switched between, like I said, when I switched between no MSAA level to a high MSAA level, for some reason the game every now and then it'll crash and just unexpectedly start working. But yeah, I'm back now. Of course, obviously, I'm back in the city. I think I'm running. Let's see. I managed to get this MSAA back. It went on and I got it back off, so I'm gonna try to reapply it so you guys can see the actual performance when applying this amount of MSAA. It's gonna be 8 times. It's gonna be 4K resolution, and you can see those frames are just, I'm down to the 30s, 40s, 50s. The tremendous amount of load that these cars are being forced to render is just unreal. 8 times MSAA at 4K resolution with all the rest of the advanced graphics. The already poorly optimized advanced graphics turned all the way up. The game is still playable in some areas, but again, with GTA being GTA, is just some parts of the game which are mostly like forest levels. Network. No, I didn't. The forest levels of the game and the grassy areas is just with the shadows cranked all the way up. It being nighttime, so those high detail shadows cranked all the way up. It's just the amount of, this is cut grass, it's not gonna work. The amount of load that has been induced on these cars, again, and on top of that, you're throwing load to handle. It keeps giving me, like, I'm not sure if that's the online giving me that's stuck pause or whatever, freeze, or is it actually the GPUs. This isn't a high bandwidth bridge, as a reminder, so that may have something to do with it. The stuttering, the micro stuttering is not noticeable. The frame time is fluctuating between 11 and 18 milliseconds, so I can't quite put my finger on it. The cards are loading uniformly 95, 96, with an occasional out of sync it just went down. So it's just, this game is, GTA 5, like I said, if anybody who plays games, if they play GTA 5, they know how much of just a hassle it can be to run at any level of advanced graphics. So like I said, if I could put it, if I had a better way to put it in perspective, the amount of load that I'm giving these cards right now, it's just, you know, it's like, it's really unreal. Freezes, I'm not sure what that is about. The game is, for the most part, it's still running. Let's go running up in the trees. Oh shit, not into a tree, up in the trees. Okay, now we're up in the grass, and you can see the micro stuttering. The micro stuttering is pretty much overwhelming the cards. I'm down to 48 frames per second. You know, like I said, this is in the dark with the shadows. You know, the extended distance shadows are on. I mean, you can see that. Oh shit, I'm lost a headlight. But you can, you know,